with a little comments here from Deion Sanders after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, guys. They're underway. The second round starts this weekend, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
We just got an alert, Mike, that go ahead, Dustin.
All right,
why don't you mention it
the
real quick.
NFL fined the Falcons for the prank. They fined the Falcons $250,000. That's one thing.
Yeah.
They fined the defensive coordinator whose son was the one that pranked.
Yeah.
$100,000.
And this is in the Shedeur. Before we get to Deion comments, this is obviously about the Shedeur Sanders
Correct.
prank. My first reaction was, well, why do they have to pay for what the I shouldn't call him a kid. He's not a kid. He's a young
21,
adult.
yeah.
But you know what? The Falcons were a little careless. First of all, supposedly only the head coach, it's probably not the case, but only the head coach is supposed to have that number, and he was careless by leaving that for someone else to get. Obviously, if I'm him, I can't even imagine what he's saying to his kid. I mean,
oh yeah,
oh my God, I'd be
I'm
pissed.
sure there's a lot of remorse and all that stuff, but it's like, geez, man.
Yeah, and again,
big time error on that kid's part.
Listen.
We've all done stupid shit.
Right. I'm not saying the guy's life should be ruined forever. He did apologize. Yeah. Hopefully he meant it. But it was a pretty shitty thing to do. Pretty shitty thing to do. All right, now, this other thing.
Yeah, so to set it up. In early March, Deion Sanders was the keynote speaker at the MetPro conference. And there was a report that came out of that conference that Deion had said he was praying for Shedeur to go to the Giants, and when asked about Cleveland, he laughed at it. He said it was the first time they're ever getting to choose where Shedeur played, or they didn't have control of where he was playing. They controlled it in high school, junior high, college. It's the first time it was out of their control. So those comments came out. Deion then said fake news didn't happen. Well, there was video of it, and either someone waited to release it until yesterday, or it was always planned to come out at the end of April. We don't know exactly how it got released, but the comments that Deion made were actually, in fact, made. And we're going to play you the full 2-minute segment of Deion making a comment about praying Shedeur went to New York and laughing at the idea of Cleveland. And then we'll discuss whether or not any of this even matters anymore, or what is in the past needs to just stay in the past. But this is Deion at the MetPro conference from last month, talking about his two sons and how he hopes Shedeur ended up with the Giants. This is Deion.
Practices, and I'm thankful because the safety Shiloh is that one kid that you have to pray for. All of us have one that you keep praying for. Like, Lord, how can they grow up in the same house and this one is this way and this one is that way? I don't know what you're trying to do to me, Lord, but you're keeping me on my knees, so I thank you, Lord, because this is a fool, Lord. I don't know. No. I love him. He's my wild card. He's my dog. And Shedeur is totally opposite to Bucky Jr., who captures everything on camera. They're delightful. So I love it. I'm glad it's over. The reason I'm saying that is because now I could just be singular. I could just be a coach. I don't have to be the coach and the dad. Because when I'm up in the morning meetings, I know Shedeur is going to be right there. And I'm like, Lord, please have Shiloh on time today, Lord, please. And I get a call from his brother. Shiloh say, just hold the meeting for 5 more minutes. You know I'm not holding the meeting for 5 more minutes because he's at the red light. No, I'm not. So I like it. I like just being the dad. I've never been in this role, just the dad, and I'm happy and I'm elated for it. But I am excited about the potential of them going to the next level and where they're going to go. Because we've been in control of everything in life now. I can't manipulate the draft. Yes, I can, but I can't. I can't tell them where they're gonna go, really. So, I'm happy. Whatever city they chose. This is the first time we don't have control. Seriously, we can't say what we want to do. In junior high, you go to what school you want to go to. High school, you go to what school. In college, you go to what school you want to go to. Now in pros, they tell you where you're going, and that's tough.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Anybody from, no, because if I say that, it's going to go viral. I can't.
Cleveland?
Say, Lord, thank you. What'd you say?
Cleveland?
We're praying for the Giants, right? Yes, we are. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, though.
Well, what do you make of those comments?
So, listen, I think and maybe not. I think if I were Deion, and it's today, I would think back about this whole last few months, and I would have some regrets. Because clearly Deion negatively affected Shedeur in this draft. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. You know, I think clearly also Deion misunderstood what the NFL thought of Shedeur Sanders. This idea, and I know there's a lot of emotion when it comes to this subject, but this idea, he was never going to be a first-round pick. Now, I didn't know that, and we didn't know that, but it's clear. He didn't drop to the 5th round. He dropped to the 5th round, and to some degree him, but a lot his dad played a role in it. But he wouldn't, even if there was none of this, he wouldn't have been a first-round pick, clearly. Because if any team that needed a quarterback thought he was a first-round talent, they would have taken him, whether distractions or not. Now, would he have got higher than the 5th round? Yes. Had none of these distractions existed, he might have been drafted in the 2nd or the 3rd, or who knows. The distractions pushed him further down, but I think it's silly to believe he wouldn't have been. He was not going to be a first-round pick. If his name was Joe Johnson, he was the exact same player, he would not have been a first-round pick. That's obvious now. Now, where he would have been drafted, I think it's obvious he would have been drafted higher, but he wouldn't have been a first-round pick. But his dad, mostly, some him, sure. But his dad mostly, obviously he didn't mean to, and he read the room wrong. Cost him whatever. I don't know where he would have been drafted. My guess is he would have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick. But, and at that point, teams were just like, I don't want to bother. He's not good enough for me to have to bother with that. Fair or not, right or wrong, you like it or not, that's the reality. Those comments making it seem like he had no control because teams didn't want Shedeur bad enough, and so he played it wrong. And I bet he has some regrets. I don't know if he would ever admit it. In the long run, if Shedeur plays well, none of it matters. Shedeur could, if he plays great, he becomes a starting quarterback. He'll make all the money in the world. He'll be fine. But for now, I believe Deion with comments like this, even what he did on draft night where they were laughing about Joe Flacco, that was stupid. He shouldn't have done that. And he made some mistakes.
Yeah, there were definitely mistakes along the way. That clip, to me, is like a nothing burger. Like, I think he's kind of, in the moment, just kind of joking.
Exactly. It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal at all.
But if he had to do it over again, he probably would have said that.
Yeah, but I mean, hearing the full clip with context, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I get also how you can put that in print and people think it's a big deal. So it's nice. Good job, Mikey, to get that clip for us so we could actually put some context behind it.
You wanted to give the full thing so there was no mistake.
No. Listen, Deion Sanders is he's a popular guy. He's controversial, I guess, in some ways. Polarizing, maybe is a better way to put it, not controversial. And he took a lot of attention for, he created a lot of attention for his kid, good and bad, I guess. Maybe more bad than we knew behind the scenes. But look, at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders being drafted in the 5th round should humble the guy, And for the Browns, they're getting a guy who thought he was going to be something that he is not, and now he's going to have to come here, and frankly, he's going to have to make the team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where he's at. It's not just like, oh, this guy's getting a starting job because he was the 2nd overall pick. No. This guy's got to make the team. I don't have a problem with those comments by Deion. Listen, hindsight's 20/20. It always is. We can look back and think we would do things differently. There's a million things I'd have done differently in my life. Lord knows. But we don't have those opportunities. So certainly for Shedeur, hopefully he learns from this. Deion hopefully learns from this, and away we go.
I mean, as far as him praying for the Giants, I kind of laughed when me and Mike talked about this yesterday because according to the reports, the Giants was the team that he kind of botched the interview with the most and was not prepared for the most. So if this was the Sanders plan to get to New York, you would have thought that was the team he was most prepared to interview with.
Yeah,
and then on the Cleveland side of things, I kind of assumed that he would be more than comfortable with Shedeur Sanders playing in Cleveland because of the relationship that he has with Billy Musgrave and because his offensive coordinator in Colorado is Pat Shurmur, who has a great relationship with Kevin Stefanski. And so just as a father, who am I going to trust my son with the most? It's the people that I know the best. And so I assume Cleveland would be a place that he would, be okay with his son going. Now, as far as the comments that he made, listen, you know, I listened to that whole clip and we sitting here laughing about it. He's a loving father. He's an involved, hands-on father. There is no handbook and there is no script to being a parent. I think we all operate with this mindset of we're just trying to help our children. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to do whatever we can to put our child in the best situation possible. And I can only assume that Deion playing in the league for so long, having a Hall of Fame career, he's seen some things, and I'm pretty sure he still got some connections. And so his thought process was, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to put my son in the best situation. But Deion knows this. You know, there's power in the tongue. And sometimes you can talk too much to where people might feel like they need to put you back in your place, or they need to show you like who's really in charge or who really has the power or who's really in control. I don't have an issue with the comments overall. I think in the grand scheme of things, it is a nothing burger. It's not going to impact him making the team. His effort, his preparation, his work will have an impact on that. And at this point, Deion is in Colorado with a new extension focusing on his team. He won't even have the time to really be focused on what's going on in Cleveland or in Tampa Bay for that matter. So
yeah, I mean, nor should he at this point. Like, that's not his job. He raised this kid. He's a good football player, and he has a chance to battle for a spot. And if we get a Shedeur Sanders that takes this and uses it as a chip on his shoulder, we might end up with a really good player. And hopefully that's what it'll be. But you're right, Dustin. You get drafted in the 5th round, even if everybody knows who you are, you're not guaranteed to make the team.
No.
You know, Mary Kay said, I don't know when this was. I can't remember when she said this, but, you know, she's been saying for a while that she thinks Kenny Pickett's going to start. And she said she thinks Shedeur's got to outperform all 3 other guys to make the team. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he's got to perform out all 3 other guys. But the point is he's got to make the team. Right now he's the 4th string on the depth chart, as he should be. He has the least experience, you know, tied for the least experience and was drafted later than the other guy with 0 experience. So
he does have the least experience because Gabriel played like 38 years in college. Technically speaking.
That's true. So he's got to earn his way. And so he made, everybody was like, for all those people that felt he was entitled, he was this, he's that, well, he's going to have to earn everything in the NFL. Doesn't matter what his name is anymore.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. He's going to have to earn it. If he makes the Browns, if he becomes a starter on the Browns, it's not going to be because he's Deion Sanders' son. It's because he outplayed all the other guys.
And guys, this is not going to be like a Johnny Manziel situation where he was
not
this
at all.
22nd overall pick and a first-round pick, you know, no less, doesn't matter where he was drafted. Like, so there was a lot of pressure, I think, from the fans, from the organization to put him in, and then obviously they did. It was a disaster. But this guy is not even, I mean, in terms of the hype, yeah, it's similar to the Manziel stuff.
I think it's more like Tebow. That's what I mentioned. Yeah, I think he's better than Tebow, but I think it's
fine, but it's also Tebow's first-round pick.
True. So I just meant in terms if it's hype, not because if he did anything bad or got in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
Johnny was also awesome. I mean, Johnny was awesome. He won a Heisman Trophy. Like, he was an amazing college player, an all-time great college player, frankly. You know, so it's not going to be like that because there's not going to be people that are going to be clamoring for this guy to be the starting quarterback without doing anything. He's going to have to literally earn his job on the roster and then earn his playing time from there.
Yeah, when I look at it like that, I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that the room for error for Shedeur Sanders might be a little wider only because of where he's playing and who the owner is. Like, if you look right now, Shedeur Sanders has a top 3 rookie selling jersey. And we all know Jimmy Haslam is into, you know, things that can do with promo. And so with Shedeur Sanders' popularity, I just think that the room for error is going to be a little bit wider for him just because of who the owner is, right? I think the work will show itself. I think he is humble, and I think that the humility from this situation pissed him off to where he's going to come in, be laser focused, and put the work in to make this roster be a backup quarterback, 3rd string quarterback. But I just think, like, even if he flat out sucks, he would have to get in trouble off the football field in order for Jimmy to say, you know what, y'all need to move on. Because in my mind, how this owner operates, it's not always about what happens on the football field first.
Let me be clear. I think it would be surprising if he didn't make the roster.
Sure.
I do think that it'd be surprising, especially being a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, 5th-round picks usually make the roster.
Yeah, usually.
But there are a handful every year that get cut. First cut, you know what I'm saying? So I think he'll be on the team. He's got to earn his right to play, though. They're not going to just throw this guy out.
No, that's a
there
fact.
if he's not ready to go.
Right. Yes.
And people are excited about him, rightfully so. He is a heck of an athlete, a heck of a football player. I'm sure he's a great kid too. He's made some mistakes. We all have along the way, and to the point of him being humbled. You know, you grow up around Deion Sanders, and you grow up around greatness. He lives in a home where his father has a gold jacket. The guy is going to work hard. I have no doubt. And if he's been put in a situation where he got by because, hey, like it was easy. And listen, I got by a lot of times because of maybe athletic ability or certain things. And then all of a sudden it's a wake-up call when you get to a level where you become tested.
Right.
Well, and then I had to turn it up a notch. And I'm sure, I'm not comparing myself to him, but as a competitor, I think he'll turn it up and he'll figure out what he has to do. And I don't know that he's going to play as a rookie. Who knows? Nobody knows that.
Right.
But I think eventually he'll do what it takes to earn an opportunity to play.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to from the moment training camp starts, whatever the date is in late July. I mean, every day we're going to be combing over these quarterbacks.
Hey, look,
who had the best day this day?
The Browns always give us a good story, don't they? I mean, it's
do.
Amazing that they just cannot. And I will say circus. It's a media circus. It's not. There's not like it's nothing bad's going on with this guy, but it is a hot topic.
Oh yeah, it will be a hot topic locally and nationally. What's going on with the Browns and quarterback?
I want to ask you guys one more part of this, and
Yeah.
we'll move on to the next topic. And Earl, we'll start with you. But anything Deion has said in the past and anything Deion says moving forward, does that have any impact with Shedeur's standing with the Browns now, or do we have to look at them as two separate, completely separate entities? Shedeur is the player, and Deion now is the father.
I think we got to look at it separate. I mean, Deion is the father. He's no longer his head coach. He's just going to be, watching from afar, looking over his son. Is he going to be opinionated if he feel like his son is not getting, his proper due? Of course, but I think that's any parent with any child that's in that situation. So I think that Shedeur is going to learn how to be his own man. He talks a lot about carrying on a family's last name and creating his own legacy. And to your point, I don't believe that he is without those core values of hard work and the things that you need to just get by in life, right? Because if you think about his parents and you see who his parents are, they didn't get to that position just by skating. You know what I mean? So to me, I think you got to treat it separately. Let Deion be Deion. He's been this way his entire life. I suspect he's going to continue to be that way. And Shedeur is going to continue to tell you exactly what he feels, but I believe he's going to work hard as well.
Do you think there's going to be any players holding any of the comments over him in the locker room?
I don't know. Depends how he comes in. Like if he comes in cocky and arrogant, which I don't think he will, by the way. Yeah, of course there will be older veterans that will give him some crap about those comments. But overall, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I saw the reaction from a lot of players and fans. Like we talked yesterday about how Denzel Ward tweeted. I think there's a lot of players rooting for him. That's my sense.
Well, don't you get the sense too? Like he became sort of a victim throughout this process.
He went from
a villain to victim.
Yeah, he kind of did
in a lot of ways, and there were a lot of people that were, and then of course we want to politicize it and do all these things. I mean, a million things were talked on, whatever.
Yeah.
But like the point about that is like, there were people rooting for him, including players in the league. They were like, this is BS, this guy deserves a chance, and then now he's getting this opportunity. So I think that there are guys like Denzel and some other players that probably are, when he gets in there, they'll wrap their arms around him and hopefully help the guy.
I think if he comes in like any other player, working hard, giving his best, I don't think there'll be an issue going
Absolutely.
forward. All right, Mike, we'll leave it there.